You're in a thriller, heart goes pum pum pum. Ghostly figures, they can get so bitter. Sure you want to enter, you can turn back. You don't know where I am.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another week of fantasy basketball. We're into the weeds now. There's not many of you left, I'm sure. Hopefully your leagues have ended or are ending this week if you're in a head-to-head league. For those that continue through the next 3 weeks left, I think we've got about 3 weeks left of the season. I apologize. Roto League's still going. Kirien, welcome back to the show. Stake League is still going.
Yep, absolutely. Stake League is going through the last day of the regular season, so things are about to get real interesting, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's thankfully your two big names are still active and playing most games, so that bodes well for you.
Yeah, fingers crossed moving forward here. Like you said, three more weeks, about 10 games each for both of them. So
yeah, all right. So we'll see how many questions we get. All of the formalities first. Welcome to Stuff It, a fantasy basketball podcast. Part of the Old Man Squad, part of the Believe Network. Follow along, follow me, follow Kirien, follow Old Man Squad. We're all on the socials. Download this video, subscribe. If you're watching, thank you. I really appreciate it this time of year. I'm still in 2 leagues, so I'm in the semi-final of one, which actually is pretty exciting. It's a team I took over for Chad. If you watch this show, you know Chad Simpson. He follows along. He asked me to join a league and to take over a team that finished second last year. So I inherited that roster, and we finished third, and we're into the semi-finals. It was close. And I lost in my other semi-final that I was in. I lost 5-4. And funnily enough, I lost field goal percentage by like 0.9%. And I streamed in Luka Garza yesterday. I thought, oh, he's good for field goal percentage. And he went 2 of 7 from the field. And I haven't done the math. I don't want to do it to myself. But I feel like if I hadn't played him, I might have won. So there you go. Streaming doesn't always help. Sometimes it goes in the opposite direction.
yeah, especially for field goal percentage. I always say, like, with the percentages, sometimes you're just looking to mitigate losses and not necessarily gain any points there. But obviously, you play to win the game. Just leaving nobody in that spot would have been lame to do.
That's right. And I next season I actually ran a trial league. This season and next season, I'm going to try and implement it in a few of my leagues. I'm actually going to get rid of percentages and turnovers because they are the negative categories. So you play someone, they can hurt you. So replacing those with 2-pointers made, 3-pointers made, something else. We came up with a bit of anyway, we're going to get rid of those because they annoy me. And they also allow teams to rest players to win categories, and that to me, I just want everyone to be running their teams out there, streaming, being active. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I love made free throws. Just like eliminating free throw percentage and just doing like how many total made free throws. So then guys like Giannis don't get dinged for going to the line 15 times, right? They get credit for making 9 or 10 of 15.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and that's sort of the concept behind it. I'll bring it up. Where is it? Was it this league? Let me just see if this was the scoring. Where's the scoring? Yeah, so this was it. So yeah, we got rid of turnovers, we got rid of percentages. We had free throws made, 2-pointers made, 3-pointers made, and then we split rebounds into offensive and defensive. So basically my idea there is that with current, and sorry, this is going a bit off topic, with current sort of standard settings, I suppose, certain categories impact other categories. So obviously you make more field goals, your points go up, potentially your threes also go up, and your field goal percentage goes up. So making more shots. The way that I set it up there, no category directly correlates with another. So if you make a 2-pointer, it doesn't impact your 3-pointers or vice versa. Same with free throws. So for streaming purposes, I like it. The feedback was pretty good on it. So we'll see, but I like that idea. All right. We've got a few questions in here, which is nice. We didn't know if we'd get any. Should I add Asar or Kobe White for the 4-game week?
So my initial reaction here was Charlotte has a back-to-back. So I would assume you only get 3 games out of Kobe White here. So I would probably just lean Asar for that reason.
Yeah, look, I think I agree. And I was just looking because this week is a pretty lopsided schedule. We've got high volume and low volume days. So you're looking at teams that play Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday to some degree. The Hornets do play all 3 of those days, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. But as you said, Kobe White may not play that Saturday game because it is a back-to-back. Detroit play Thursday and Saturday, so they do have 2 of those 3 volume days, and Asar probably plays all 4 games. So I think, maybe it is Asar just, but obviously depends what categories you need as well, because if you need points and threes and free throws, you go Kobe White. If you need rebounds, steals, blocks, you go Asar.
Totally fair. The only other thing I would say there is, Kobe White's production has been pretty solid, but he's still playing limited minutes. The most he's played is 26, and he's been, 23 or under in most of the games. At first, it was just his scoring was there, but he's getting assists now. He had 8 rebounds in their last game, but he's also gone 3 straight games without a defensive stat. So, like you said, probably – if you're just looking at the schedule, probably lean Asar. But if you're looking for categories and you need, threes and free throw percentage, then it's maybe White.
All right. Ricardo asks, should I continue to play Hendricks? He is no longer a starter. Well, he wasn't a starter for that game. That doesn't mean he's not going to go back into the starting lineup. I would say yes. I would continue to play Hendricks. Do check the schedule because their first 3 games are Monday, Wednesday, Friday, which are all high volume days, 10, 12, and 10. So just make sure, have a look at your roster and see if he's right down the bottom and not going to play. Because if that's the case, then potentially you could move on. But with the way he's been playing and the numbers he's racking up, even coming off the bench, I think I would hold him. Where are you on Hendricks?
Yeah, definitely a hold. Over the last 17 games, he's only started 5 of those. So it's not like his production is tied directly to his starting role. He's playing pretty strong minutes regardless. And, he was injured a little bit there, but he played in the most recent back-to-back set. So I would expect him to continue playing through there. I would definitely hold Hendricks if your only worry is that he's not starting anymore.
Yeah. I'm just pulling him up here on my other screen. And look, whether he starts or not, the minutes are the same, basically. So, don't worry too much. Interestingly, I just saw that Jeremy Grant has been ruled out for tonight. I think we talked about the fact that we were surprised he was playing at this time of year. He's obviously looked at the calendar and realised that it's March and he needs to go on holiday. So, adjust your lineups accordingly. Should I play Minot tonight? He cost a lot of people their leagues yesterday from what I saw on socials. Does he play tonight? I don't know. Do you have any insight?
I have no insight. It wasn't like he was on the injury report. It wasn't like they made him, inactive like they do, like some of these two-way guys that get ruled out inactive. He just was a coach's decision. So and we don't really have any word on Jordy Fernandez. I would say, obviously the injury report is very long in Brooklyn. Terrence Mann, Noah Clowney, Danny Wolf, Drake Powell. We know Sharp and Doyman have been ruled out for the season, and Michael Porter's probably going to be out for the season. So with all of those absences, I would assume that Minot gets a chance to play tonight. But yesterday was absolutely brutal. I have no idea where that came from, especially after his 22-point explosion against the Knicks earlier that week.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, look, we just don't know what they're doing in Brooklyn. And as we said, there are 10 games tonight, so he's kind of a borderline pickup anyway. So if for whatever reason you have multiple spots available, with 20 teams in action, there's probably someone that is a higher percentage of playing. That there would just be risk, I think, of wasting a move on someone like Minot. In saying that, he could come out and score 20 points.
Yeah, absolutely. So at RotoWire, we have Minot listed with 10 minutes. But he could take some minutes away from Etienne or Liddell if he is part of the rotation. I would hope that with, like you said, the busy slate, that there's a better streamer available today. But yeah, you can't. If you knew he was going to be in the rotation, I think it would be a fine play. But with that, it's just way too many concerns. I don't have him in any of my rosters today.
Yep. All right. Should I drop Derek Queen or Davin? I'm assuming maybe that's Devin Carter. I'm not sure if that is. I can't think of anyone else. Another Devin or anyone close to Davin.
Yeah, Devin Carter, probably.
Devin Carter. Would I drop either of them for Kennedy Chandler in a 14-team points league? I don't think I would, given the schedule. The Kings have probably the best schedule this week, or one of the best schedules. They play the Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday low volume days. And I think the Pelicans also play 2 of those days, or one. Yeah, they play Tuesday, Thursday. So again, Kennedy Chandler, look, he was good, but he plays tonight, Wednesday, Friday, all high volume nights. So I don't think I would do that. What about you?
Yeah, I think that's fine. There are some injuries in Sacramento. If this is Devin Carter, Russell Westbrook, Killian Hayes, Daquan Plowden, Nee Clifford. So I think that would be a maybe worthy of it. I think if you've held on to Queen this long and you're in a points league, I would just continue to roll with him probably.
Yeah. Okay. Shining Knight, 4-punt build. Good to see that you're still going and the punt is working. 4-punt build, projecting to lose turnovers this week. This happened to me actually in this side note when I implemented this strategy in a lot of leagues. Turnovers got tricky towards the back end of the season because you're having to stream in players. I found that I was streaming in players for steals, and some of those were high or relatively high turnover players. So turnovers actually became a bit of a swing category for me as well. So something to note for next season. This week, Dyson, Amen, Jalen Johnson, Zion. Any way I can minimize the impact? I mean, they're all starter level players, so you can't not play them. I would have a look at the other categories. So rebounds, blocks, steals, field goal percentage. And if you're far enough ahead, maybe there are some one category guys, like there might be I don't know, like a Cason Wallace or something who you can potentially not play on a night because he might get 2 or 3 turnovers. So maybe you can, because of your strengths, you can then rest or bench certain players, which might somewhat limit the turnover numbers. All right, quick question. Javon Carter or Kennedy Chandler tonight?
I would probably...
Suggs is out. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would probably lean Carter here. Wait, hold on. I don't have either of these in a league. I was thinking about streaming Javon Carter a while ago. Jamal... We have Javon Carter for 30 minutes at RotoWire. So take that for what you want. I feel like he's a pretty good per minute producer.
I think I'd go Javon as well. I just think he's a little bit safer.
Yeah.
Slightly.
Yeah. We also have Kennedy Chandler for 30 plus minutes. That's tough. I think Carter's probably the safer option, and Utah. I'm hoping Harkless is the play in Utah. I do have Harkless going in a couple of leagues. Bez has been solid. Ace Bailey is still healthy. He'll be like the go-to option there. Do you have either of these guys in any leagues?
No, I have looked at Harkless for tonight, but the league that I'm still in, I've got a lot of play. We have, I think, 10 IR spots. So I've got quite a few players sitting in IR who I could activate tonight, like D'Anthony Melton, Kristaps Porzingis, Kawhi Leonard. So I'm kind of waiting until closer to tip off so I can, because if I activate them, there's no point streaming because my lineup will be full anyway. I will say Cody Williams is probably not going to play tonight as well, so that would help Kennedy Chandler.
And Bryce Sensabaugh is back after he was sitting out the last game, and Collier and George remain out. I think Carter's the safer option here. He's been pretty solid, especially in the steals column. And then he gets a boost with Suggs out. And then if you're just looking for a high upside play, though, I think Chandler is the guy, that could score 20 and have a blow up game, where Carter's is just you expect a little bit of a boost in production, but he's not going to be the leading scorer for the Magic tonight.
No. All right, 9-cat semis holding VJ and PG this week, so it will be a tough hold, though I'm confident in my team. Should I drop Diabate, Miles Bridges, Messi to activate Andrew Wiggins after tomorrow? Let's have a look. I think we said Charlotte have a good schedule, so I don't know if I drop. I would assume Wiggins is going to be a little bit limited. He's been out for quite a length of time here with a toe injury, so they could be cautious with him. They don't have a back-to-back, though. Spurs, Cavs, Pacers. What are your thoughts here? Do you think Wiggins plays enough because they play on all the high volume nights? So I guess the question for me is he going to play enough to be one of your 8 best players tonight, for example, or Wednesday? Or
I will say that the Heat's game on Sunday is the first half of a back-to-back, so he might only get 3 games if he sits out that Sunday game, or he might sit out Monday. So you're not guaranteed that he'll sit one of these games. I'm semis holding VJ and Paul George this week. Oh yeah, because they only have 3 games. I see. I feel like Wiggins would be interesting. Missy's really been, rebounds and steals. So steals, rebounds and blocks. So if you need those, you can continue rolling with that. But if you don't, you can move off of him. Obviously, he's been pretty elite in those 2 categories recently. Diabate or Miles Bridges. I would rather have Paul George over Miles Bridges at this point too. I would probably drop. Unless you need rebounds and blocks, Missy would be my first drop, and then probably Wiggins and Miles Bridges. But I would hold on to Diabate.
Yeah, I think PG obviously has arguably the highest upside here of all these players, but doesn't have a great schedule this week. Bridges hasn't been fantastic, but like I said, they play 3 low-volume nights, so he's almost certainly going to be active on those nights. But yeah, I think I'm with you, Messi, he's playing well, but he's coming off the bench. He's only playing 22 minutes. So I think you're okay to move on if you don't need those categories. So we touched on this one, Harkless or Chandler. You said you're hoping it's Harkless.
I am hoping it's Harkless. I picked him up in a handful of leagues. Like I said, I am mostly competing for steals in my big money leagues right now. That's where, I'm either going to make my money there or I'm going to lose money. So steals is really where I'm looking at with Jokic and Wemby in that one league. I'm pretty solid across the board as long as they're healthy. I would say that Kennedy has higher upside if you're looking at threes and points. But Harkless has the more upside if you're looking for assists and steals. Yep,
I agree with that. All right, this one's got a long list of names. So thinking of dropping Clifford to stream in my 12-team points league, which of Muhammad Gay, Campaign, Miller, I don't know which Miller that is, Jordan Miller, probably, Jalen Smith, Usman Dieng, Daniel Gafford, or Sandro Mamukelashvili has the best upside. And then obviously a few of those guys are reliant on other players not being available. So Jalen Johnson is questionable.
Mm-hmm.
Where are they? Yeah, they're playing Memphis. So I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't play. They try and get him a night off here against Memphis. Payne. That's if Manuel. If no Q. Oh, Quentin Grimes. No Quentin Grimes. Yeah, so Quentin Grimes also questionable. And Pirtle is out tonight. So if there's no Colin Murray-Boyles, Mamu is kind of the last man standing there in Toronto.
Mamu, I've liked Mamu. Like I liked him earlier in the season, but the production just really hasn't been there, even with Murray-Boyles out. And obviously with Pirtle out, he'll see a little bit more. In Mamu's last start, March 10th against the Rockets, 8 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals in 30 minutes. So like that's solid, but he hasn't really spiked in fantasy potential like he was earlier in the season, even when there's been injuries around him. That Clifford injury didn't look great, so I wouldn't mind streaming here. As for the list of players, I'm not like super enthused by any of them. I think Gafford will start again tonight, so maybe he's the option. He did get banged up in that game, but even in limited minutes over the last 2 games, totaled 31 points, 21 rebounds. I don't know. I'm not sure. Anybody on this list like jump out to you?
Not really. I'd probably say that Campaign is the one guy that could pop off because we've seen him do it. If he starts, plays 30 minutes, but he could also give you absolutely nothing. His ceiling and floor are way apart. Mamu, as you said, he was good earlier in the season, hasn't been great of late. They also play Utah, who, I mean, you have no idea what kind of a lineup they're going to run out there. Filipowski's starting, but he's only playing minutes in the low 20s. So if they're not running a traditional center, Toronto might run Scotty Barnes as a bit of a center here. Markelle Fultz is also playing for them tonight. So I'm curious to see I like Markelle Fultz. So I'm hoping that he does get out there and get some run. I would.
I'm just real quick sidetrack here. I've not to put my conspiracy theory hat on, but Emmanuel quickly getting ruled out for this second half of the back-to-back set with a foot injury, and then them immediately signing Markelle Fultz to a 10-day contract. I don't know if those two things, are related at all, but we might be looking at quickly missing more than just the second half of a back-to-back. I don't know why else they would go out and sign a guy like Markelle Fultz. Jamal Shedd has been awesome. Jacoby Walter has been pretty good when he's been available. So that signing was it put off some alarms in my head, but hopefully quickly we'll be healthy moving forward.
And Jamal Shedd, Jacoby Walter might be names to keep an eye on tonight as well, just if you are streaming, because as you said, both of them have been pretty good. And I don't see Fultz coming in here and starting or anything. I think it'll be Shedd that starts. So, he'd be someone. Anyway, back to this list. Yeah, look, I think maybe it's Gafford. I don't think I'd go Muhammad Gay. Jalen Smith just hasn't been doing enough for me. Mamu is risky because it could be Mamu, but it could also not be Mamu. So I think I'll go Gafford or Payne. Like I said, Payne, I think there's some upside there for him to have a big game.
And when we were really high on Payne, when the Maxey news first came out, Edgecombe was also missing time at that point too, right? Or maybe it was Grimes. Either way, there was multiple absences in that backcourt. So maybe with Grimes and Maxey out now, maybe Payne gets back on track again.
Yep. All right. What have we got? Can play Wiggins today, but he'll be injured tomorrow. Oh, yeah. Okay, that's just a comment about Wiggins, really. Yo Joe though, just wanted to say thanks. Help me through the playoffs to win 12-team $100 buy-in league. Gee, that's a nice payout then. So that'd be, well, I don't know what the percentage was, but possibly $1,000. So you're welcome. Congratulations. Always like it when people are winning their leagues. My opponent grabbed Steph off the wire in the finals. I didn't because I didn't want zeros. What's your hunch on when he actually comes back?
So I know you might have not seen this report yet, but so apparently he was supposed to play 5-on-5 yesterday. That's what the reporting was, but he never did. That was the reporting this morning. So I don't know if that means he suffered a setback and he didn't, or he's just feeling so good that they're just going to continue that way. I would expect him to miss at least a couple of more games here. If this is your finals week, I would have been fine leaving him on the waiver wire. But when he does come back, I expect him to be pretty solid. They have 2 home games that, after tonight, they play at home against Brooklyn, at home against Washington, no back-to-back sets. So like best case scenario, your opponent gets 3 games out of him. But I would be shocked if he played in multiple games this week.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think 2 is probably the most. And there'll be a bit of, like you said, he'll come in, he'll play a big role, but there's going to be a bit of a minute restriction here, I would assume, given how long, and just given his age and in terms of conditioning, things like that. He's not just going to walk in and play 32 minutes. And
especially if he's not scrimmaging yet. Like he didn't. If he scrimmages today, then they'll reevaluate him tomorrow, and then he'll maybe be questionable, but they'll probably give him one more day, and then it goes on and on. Like there's still multiple check marks before he gets upgraded to questionable.
That's right. And you mentioned they play Brooklyn and Washington. So do they need him against both those teams? Probably not. Maybe he plays one of those games. Maybe it is the Washington game and then Denver. So I think you've probably made the right move by not picking him up. I think you can potentially have open that spot up for 5 games this week or something, as opposed to 2 of Steph, and it's not 100% of Steph. It's maybe 75%. Asar, Alex Sarr, Khalil Ware, and McDaniels, are they all drops this week? Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I'm gonna say yes on Sarr for sure. Ware hit rock bottom in that last game with only 5 minutes, so I don't know how you can trust him and moving forward, especially with Wiggins back and Powell. They're mostly healthy now. McDaniels, I think they only have 2 games. So probably just by process of elimination there, I would say yes, but it all depends on who's available, right?
It does, yeah. But as you said, I think 2 games is not enough. I don't think you can hold 2 games of McDaniels. Where, I mean, with Wiggins back, that's just another name in the equation for their rotation. And Alex Sarr, he didn't play yesterday. They play Utah. Is he going to play against them? Probably not. Only playing 20 minutes anyway. So, yeah, I think you can move on. Do we think it's the last straw for Filipowski if his minutes are under 24 again tonight in points leagues?
I'm going to say no. I mean, in 18 minutes, still had 12 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal, and a block, 3 for 14 from the field. So he could have had potential for even more if he shot the ball, to his standards of efficiency.
Yeah.
I would still say, I mean, obviously if this is like a 10-point league or a 10-team league and there's somebody better available, but his role is still pretty consistent. He's still pretty productive in limited action.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I think I'd stick. He's not really. He missed 1 game for rest, but other than that, he's been available. Look, the minutes are a bit underwhelming, but the production has been okay. So I think I'd still probably try and hold him. Thanks for all the help. No worries, Jordan. Hopefully you won as well. Thoughts on Ware? We just touched on him. I think we can move on this week. They have 4 games. But they are all on high volume nights. So we just don't know. I do think that last game was an outlier. I don't think his role is now a 4-5 minute role off the bench. It was more of a matchup kind of thing. They play the Spurs. So you got Wemby, Cornette. He's probably going to play more minutes against more of a traditional kind of rotation. Same with Cleveland. They're quite a big team. So I would say probably is back up to kind of 15 to 18 minutes and potentially against, Jared Allen is still out. Is that right? I think he is.
Question. Yeah. No report yet for tomorrow.
No. I was going to say, if he was available, then there's a chance they would start Ware and Bam together against Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley. But if Jarrett Allen's out, then I think Khalil Ware is 15 minutes. 9-cat league, drop Zaire Williams or Chaney tonight if Andrew Nemhard ends up playing.
If Nemhard's playing, I would rather have him in there. A more trustworthy, consistent option. And when he's been healthy or when he's been available, he's been pretty solid. Yeah. Depending on who to drop I would say Zaire and Chaney are pretty similar. I don't know who I would like more moving forward. Maybe Zaire, just because he's in the starting lineup consistently.
I think I'd prefer Zaire. He's a little bit more proven for me, so just slightly safer. Lolo Lama, I added Cody Williams earlier, and now he's doubtful. Should I spend my second ad today on someone like Javon Carter for Orlando, or should I be patient and add a Sacramento or New Orleans player tomorrow? I doubt Cody Williams is going to play. He went from nothing to doubtful, so that's never a good sign. I would say just check your roster again. High volume night tonight. So do you need to stream someone in? I think I'd probably add it depends who's available from Sacramento or New Orleans, but I think I'd probably add, depending on how many moves you have. If you have unlimited moves, then absolutely. But it sounds like you've probably got limited moves here. I think I'd probably add a Sacramento or Pelicans player tomorrow. What about you?
Yeah, I think that's fair. Like I said, Javon Carter is a safe streamer, but he's not really like a must-stream guy, even with Suggs out. He's kind of just a solid role player for me. So I would maybe wait for a Sacramento or New Orleans stream tomorrow.
I mean, Javon Carter, they are on a back-to-back, but is Suggs potentially only out because it is the first night of a back-to-back against Indiana? They have a favorable schedule, but that you'd be relying on Suggs missing time there, which I'm not sure he does. DiVincenzo or Gillespie?
I'm going to say Gillespie here. I've been on the Gillespie train for a while, so I'll just stick with that. DiVincenzo can get hot from time to time, but he's been mostly cold recently, and Gillespie's just been way more solid across the board, so I'll go with Gillespie.
Yep. Yeah, I think I will. I would have gone Gillespie, but their schedule is also. I know both teams only both have 2 games.
Yeah,
but Phoenix play Tuesday, Saturday, so 2 low volume nights. So I'll definitely go Gillespie if you needed an extra nudge into the Gillespie column. Semifinals, 12-team needs center. Can drop Dante for Huff, Jalen Smith, Isaiah Jackson, Lopez, or Leonard Miller probably. May only be a one-day stream if I have 6. I have 6 more this week. Okay, so 7 moves per week. Which of those centers would you prefer for tonight?
For just talking tonight, Lopez revenge game against the Bucks could be pretty funny, but I wouldn't put my money on that. Jay Huff is the one that pops out here, but he's playing limited minutes too, and he hasn't. Yeah,
I don't think any of. Well, I think if you're looking purely at minutes upside, it's probably Leonard Miller. He's the one that could play 30 minutes. I don't think any of the others play 30 minutes. Or maybe Jalen Smith.
Maybe.
He is still questionable tonight, so he hasn't been cleared. It's weird. It's hard to get a read on how they're using him. He came back from injury. He played 20 minutes, 34 minutes, 30 minutes, had a night off, played 27, played 17, had a night off. Like there's no pattern at all. So I'll go with I think Huff for me was the intriguing one. I think in 25 minutes he can probably do the most.
Yeah, and he didn't start with Zubac out for the season. He didn't start in their last game against the Spurs, but I wouldn't be surprised if he was back in the starting lineup playing that 25 to 28 minute role with Zubac out now again.
Thoughts on picking up Plowden as a game time decision? Look, he's been really good, but is where is he? Have we got an official? No, okay, so we don't have an official status.
This is a wait and see for me. Like I said, Plowden isn't the only one on the injury report. Russell Westbrook, Killian Hayes, Nick Clifford. This is definitely a wait and see. Plowden has been great, and if Westbrook, Hayes, or Clifford is out, I think picking him up is awesome. But I would wait, burn a pickup until he's cleared from the injury report.
Yeah. Picked up Javon Carter for the back-to-back. I'm waiting to see if Jalen Smith or Kawhi play tonight. If they don't, would I grab another back-to-back stream or hold off on another move? How many moves do you have? That would be my question here. If you only have 3 moves, I wouldn't use 2 moves on day one. But if you have 6 or 7, then you're probably okay because there's enough high-volume nights this week that you don't need to be streaming every day.
Yep, I totally agree with that. And this is maybe more of like a psychological thing, but I also love to save my moves until later in the week because I just feel like, you let your opponent get a little bit of a, sense of like, oh, I'm going to cruise to this win. And then all of a sudden Friday, Saturday, you use all your moves and you really dominate in the final days and take the lead there at the last second.
Yep. Always nice to make that comeback in the last day but don't stream in Luka Garza for field goal percentage because it won't work. Thoughts on dropping either Bailey, Hendricks, or Diabate to activate Jalen Williams in a 10-team points league?
Diabate would be the drop here if I had to pick one. I'm really high on Hendricks. I know he's a little bit better in a category league, but even in a points league, he's been pretty awesome recently. And Diabate is mostly just rebounds and blocks at this point. Obviously, like you said, it's a points league, but I just think Hendricks' offense gives him a little bit more of an upside than Diabate here. And if you're in points leagues, you're just looking for upside. I would take Bailey, Hendricks, and J. Will. Like I said, I'm a little hesitant that J. Will's gonna come out and be an all NBA performer, dropping 25 points, 10 assists type of thing. But I do think he has enough upside that now that he's cleared, you got to play him.
Yeah, I think so. Yep. After hearing that I played in some head-to-head no playoff leagues a few years ago, that's the only type of leagues I play in. It's a solution, absolutely. Think of English Premier League, so there's just no finals. You just play weekly matchups, and whoever finishes first wins. Look, it certainly is a way to avoid the risk of ending the regular season as the second seed and then losing in the first round of the playoffs. So, look, it's absolutely one option. I'm always torn on that decision. I don't know about you because playoffs sort of make it interesting and fun. And for me, with the way that I structure my teams with punting, I rarely finish first in the regular season. I often finish 4th or 5th. So in that kind of league, it does make, for me, it makes punting a little bit harder because you're probably not going to finish first. But with that said, punting isn't for everyone. So have you played in any leagues where you don't have playoffs?
Yes. So my thoughts on this are, if this is like a league with your buddies or, your family or whatever, head to head is what makes fantasy fun for people that aren't diehard fantasy people. Obviously, if you're listening to this podcast, you're probably a diehard fantasy player, but if head to head is what makes it fun. Me against Kingy or me against Alex in our RotoWire leagues, like that's fun. You have the head to head competition, but if you're going for like finding the whose team was the best all season long, I think, season-long rotisserie leagues are the best to determine who had the best team all season long. Now, that's not always fun, right? Like, if you make it to the playoffs, that's exciting, and knocking out your buddy or knocking out your arch rival in the playoffs is what makes fantasy fun. So I go back and forth. I'm in, dozens of leagues, and they all have different settings, and I think that's kind of the fun of it, is finding what works for which league.
Yeah, I agree. Each to their own. Some people like it, some people don't. Would we drop Gafford for Jalen Williams? Just talked about him returning tonight. I mean, they're very different. So I know it's sort of the cop-out answer of, well, what stats do you need? Because they do different things. Let me have a look at the...
Mavericks have 3 games and Thunder have 4, but their Sunday game is a back-to-back on Monday.
Dallas play Warriors, Denver. I think I'd probably be okay with that. I think... Yeah, I know Gafford's been playing well, but they play Denver. So, I mean, Jokic isn't notoriously a great defender. Then he's up against Donovan Clingan and Rob Williams. Yeah, I think I'd be okay with that.
Yep, I think that's the high upside play.
I have Suggs in my IR. Should I add Javon Carter or Da Silva for the back-to-back?
I would probably go Carter here. I think that's just a safer option. Da Silva has really tailed off. When Anthony Black, Franz Wagner were both out, Da Silva was a hot streamer, but he's kind of tailed off. Not really giving you much defensive production lately. Not really giving you any rebounds either. So I think Carter is the better option here.
Yeah, I think so too. Any chance Duncan Robinson picks up usage without Cade or Sasa? Grabbed him in the finals for 3 in the first 4 days, had to drop Gobert, but need points and threes. I think that's a fair move, dropping Gobert. If you don't, he doesn't get points, he doesn't get threes, so he's not helping you. The schedule here is good for Detroit with as you said, 3 games in the first 4 days. Does Duncan Robinson pick up usage? I'm not sure. I'd say that he picks up usage because he's not a usage player. Does he pick up some shots? Potentially. So I don't mind this. I think this is fine if you need points and threes, because Duncan Robinson could certainly, in 3 games, he could give you 50 points and 10 3-pointers. So that could be valuable.
Yep, couldn't agree more. I'll just throw in some stats here. In the last 3 games, Cade has missed 2, and then obviously he left the first game against Washington early. So basically 3 games without Cade, and Robinson has had at least 9 shots in each one of those games. The previous 10 games, he averaged only 6.5 shots per game. Mm-hmm. So probably not more usage, but they might call a couple of more plays for him to shoot. But really his shot attempts spike when he's making them, right? Like after a shooter makes one, the coach is more inclined to call another one for him, right? So if he catches fire, this could work out in your favor.
And all 3 games are important games. I mean, every game's an important game for a team like Detroit, but they play the Lakers, the Hawks, and the Pelicans. So those 3 teams are all trying to win. Obviously, the Pelicans are trying to win for a different reason, but they're still trying to win. So they should be games where they want Robinson out there firing away, hitting his shots. It's not a situation where they're playing Brooklyn or something like that, where they could ease off a bit. 12-cat league, thoughts on Paul Reed for the next couple of weeks? Well, it really comes down to the Isaiah Stewart injury, I think, and we don't really have a timeline on it. It's a calf injury, so you sort of err on the side of caution given the season we've had with soft tissue injuries. I don't know. It's hard to get a read. The first couple of games, Paul Reed didn't really do anything, and then the last 2 games, he's been productive. So... yeah, look, I mean, the 3 games in 4 nights, much like with Duncan Robinson, is intriguing. So I don't mind taking a chance on him. Which way are you leaning? Do you think he's worth a look?
I think it's totally fair. Definitely worth a look. I will just say 2 of those 3 games that he's had, or two of the 3 good games he's had recently came against the Wizards. So maybe a grain of salt here, but definitely worth a look when you see that type of production at this point in the season. And I think, like you said, it's directly tied to Stewart's injury, and we're not really sure when he's going to be back. So worth a look. But this is a dart throw for me. You got to get pretty lucky for him to pop.
Yep. What's this? Okay, so winner. So this is just a bit of a comment, probably regarding when we were talking about no playoffs, things like that. I wanted to say that in my dynasty pool, the winner gets a trophy and the number 1 pick in the redraft the following season.
Nice.
Yeah, I think that's valid as well. There's always, you can always add little incentives to things like that. All right, 10-team 9-cat in lieu of losing turnovers. I'm very close to winning assists. If JJ sits out, I might lose. Planning on streaming McConnell tonight. Is it worth it? Based on recent production, I'll go yes, especially if Nembhard sits. But McConnell's had double-digit assists in like 4 straight games or something. Oh, yeah. He had 8 in the last one. So
39 assists over the last 4 games. So pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think, and Nembhard probably played in at least 1 or 2 of those games. Yeah. Only one of them. Okay. So Nembhard played in the last game, and McConnell still had 8 assists in 17 minutes though. So that would be, if Nembhard doesn't play, absolutely go with McConnell. If Nembhard plays, I think he's still okay if you just need assists, but a little bit more risky. We talked about this. We both sort of agreed that probably Javon Carter over Tristan da Silva. There might have been more for the McConnell question. Planning on streaming Wendell Carter Jr. today, Herb tomorrow, Diabate Saturday, Sunday, dropped Cater, dropping PJ for Herb. Okay, I think he's just sort of, just commenting. Okay. Do we add Taylor Hendricks or Jarris Walker this week, dropping Cody Williams? I think I'd go Hendricks.
Yeah, I think that's fair. These are 2 guys that I've been high on all season, so it's tough for me to pick here. I have them rostered in all of my big money leagues right now, except Stake League. I only have Jarris. I went with OMP over Hendricks a couple of weeks ago, but yeah, Hendricks probably has the higher upside here, especially with Indiana getting pretty healthy recently. Walker's production has kind of fallen off while Hendricks is still spiking.
Yep. I think, I agree. I think Walker probably plays more minutes. He's still playing 30 minutes, but Hendricks per minute a little bit better. And they have a slightly better schedule. If you want to look at their final game of the week is on Saturday, where there's only 6 games, whereas the Pacers play on Sunday, which has 9 games. So maybe that helps. We've done that one. Another thank you. Appreciate everyone who are obviously having some success.
We'll love to see it. Absolutely love to see it.
Yeah.
Hopefully their luck rubs off on me a little bit here in the next couple of weeks. And I need some help.
Yeah. I'm hoping to get through to the final next week in the one league I'm left in. You play in enough leagues, then you get to play more fantasy, because one of them you'll get lucky in one of them. Friday to Sunday of this week, drop 2. 1 game of Najee, 1 game of Duncan Robinson, 2 games of Ben Saraf. It's probably Duncan Robinson. I think he's like we talked about before, he's points and threes only. That's it.
Yep. And Ben has been really good. He was a guy that I was targeting for steals too. And with all of these injuries in Brooklyn, he's going to see a pretty big runway. 25 minutes in 7 or 24, at least 24 minutes in 7 straight, averaging 11 points, 5 assists, and 1.5 steals. So yeah, I think Duncan Robinson's just unless you specifically need threes, he's definitely the easy drop here for me.
Yeah. All right, let's get moving through these, because we want to get you out of here and get me out of here. Are any Wolves a hold? Are we holding any Minnesota players this week?
Probably not.
Yeah, I don't think so. If you don't play next week, like if this is it for you, absolutely not. I don't think you have to hold any of them. If you are in a semi-final with a view to next week, it's a little bit harder. But I still don't think you can. Randall potentially might be a hold, but he would really be the only one with Anthony Edwards out. So yeah, I'll go with probably no. What's this one? It's a long one. Okay, let's just bring it up. 10-team 9-cat with 10 ads in the finals. Who should I drop to get J-Dub off my IR? My opponent, I barely beat 2 times this season on the weirdly short and long weeks. These are the categories that I won. Field goal percentage, free throw percentage, threes, blocks, and points or steals, turnovers. Okay, so who are we dropping here to activate J-Dub? I'll read the names for those that are listening along. Shea, Desmond Bain, Asar Thompson, Kevin Durant, Denny Avdia, Ace Bailey, Jakob Poeltl, Bobby Portis, Amen Thompson, Ryan Rollins, DeJounte Murray, Derek White, Musa Diabate, and my injury, the IL spots are Jalen Williams, Keegan Murray, and Grayson Allen.
Bobby Portis was the first name that jumped off. I think him and Diabate are just the lowest upside guys here. I think, you could maybe make a case for Asar Thompson if you don't need, if you're not worried about steals, but I like his upside. Those would be my 3 weak links here. You definitely can't cut Shea, Bain, Durant, Avida, Ace Bailey. Poeltl at this point is definitely a non-cut. Amen Thompson can't cut. Ryan Rollins has been solid. Kevin Porter remains out. Giannis remains out, so he's full go. DeJounte's been good. Derek White's awesome. So yeah, I would think it's between Asar, Diabate, and Bobby Portis for me. How about you?
Yeah, I think so. I think Asar Thompson having 3 games in 4 nights, I probably want to try and hold him. And then so it would leave Portis and Diabate, and I'd go Portis because Diabate, as we've said earlier, the Hornets play 3 low-volume nights in a row. So I would go with probably Bobby Portis there. Any chance Wemby gets a rest game this week? Fingers crossed for you that that's not the case.
Yeah, Mike, come on.
Who do they play? Miami. Ooh, they do play Memphis on Wednesday, and they don't play again until Saturday. So it would give Wemby kind of a 5-day break if that is in the back of their minds that they want to get some rest leading into the playoffs. I'll say there's a chance. What do you think? You have Wemby. I don't in any of my active leagues.
I definitely think there is a chance that he rests. That's something that I've been very worried about. Unfortunately, the leagues that I have him rostered in are two leagues that I have him rostered in. They're weekly settings, so there's not much I can do if he is rested. So it's just I'm not planning for him to rest because I can't. I don't have an immediate pivot if he is ruled out. I would say that given he's still chasing Defensive Player of the Year, he's still chasing some MVP votes here. I would assume that he wants to play in that game, and the goal there would just be to blow Memphis out and have him only play 20 to 25 minutes because they have done that recently where they've just destroyed teams so quickly that he doesn't need to play in the fourth quarter. But yeah, I would. If you have him in a daily lineup league, I would definitely be looking to have a pivot for that Memphis game specifically. I would also say, only 3 games this week, and then I think they have 4 next week, so more likely to rest one of next week than he is this week.
All right, let's just finish off here. Appreciate all the questions. I'm surprised how many we got, to be honest.
For sure.
It's good. It means a lot of you are still playing fantasy, which is a good thing. Kennedy Chandler or EJ Harkless.
Yep. Kennedy's points maybe if you're looking for upside there, but I think Harkless has the better all-around upside. And like the Steph report, Anthony Slater said this morning, Steph wasn't cleared for the scrimmage in Atlanta on Sunday morning. So wasn't cleared, didn't suffer a setback, but not ready to advance to the next stage. So if he's not cleared for a 5-on-5 scrimmage, I would be really shocked if he was cleared for full game action in the next couple of days.
Yep, agreed. Are we dropping Kevin Porter Jr. for active players this week? I also have Pirtle, Jalen Williams, Jarrett Allen, and Jalen Johnson. Yeah, we're not dropping Jalen Johnson. We're not dropping Jakob Pirtle, Jalen Williams. Jarrett Allen, we don't have an update on him, but yeah, Kevin Porter Jr. There's no Milwaukee have little incentive here to push him. So yeah, I think of all of these players, he would be the one I'd drop.
Yep, I expect Allen back before Porter. Porter's missed 7 of the last 10 games.
Yep. Yeah, I would love to do this question, but we just don't have time. Who are our early priority draft picks for next season? We'll probably in the next week or so, I'll probably start running out some early sort of looks ahead to next season. I've already done some player ranks, so we'll look out for some dedicated shows where we actually talk about some sleepers and things for next season. Is DeRozan now a drop? Yeah. The only reason I'd hold him is their schedule, but he looks so unmotivated at the moment. But you're potentially playing him on, as I said, those 3 low volume nights this week: Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. They play all 3 nights, so I would say, generally speaking, he probably is a drop. But given that you'll just be looking for bodies on the floor on those nights, I think maybe you hold him. Or what about you?
I would like someone to do a deep dive on DeMar DeRozan. He played 32 minutes against the Nets last night, and he took 7 shots. I think that might be a career low for when he plays 30-plus minutes. Like you said, just look disinterested on the court. But, I mean, if he's playing 30 minutes, it's hard to drop him, but 23 minutes the game before that, 17 minutes the game before that. I would be looking to move off of him. I have been for a while now, but obviously it all depends on who you would be replacing him with.
Yeah. I would assume this is meant to be an ad. Is Monk an ad this week? But maybe this is the right question. I'm not too sure. I'll go again. The low volume nights, I'll probably go yes. I would consider picking him up. What about you? Is he an ad?
This has everything to do with injuries, right? I've said it with Plowden before. Westbrook, Killian Hayes, Plowden, Nick Clifford are all injured. If a couple of those guys are out, I would add Monk. If a couple of those guys are in, this might actually be the right phrasing there.
Just like to say thank you for getting me through the playoffs. Won my first championship and faced a team with both Shea and Jokic. Well done.
Wow, nice.
Well done. And yes, it was ad. No. Are we dropping Melton or Nemhard or both for guaranteed games? Wait a little bit. I mean, Nemhard, we should know. Pacers play pretty early. Yeah, Pacers have opening tip, so they tip off at 7 Eastern. So we'll have word on Nemhard. So don't drop him yet. Melton, it's going to be a little bit harder because they don't play till later in the night. So if you need to make those roster decisions before the first game of the night, then I think Melton will play.
Yeah.
If for what it's worth, I think both he and Porzingis were just precautionary kind of things. Melton definitely precautionary. I know Porzingis sort of left. I think he left with back soreness or something, didn't he? But yeah, so I do think Melton plays if that helps.
Yeah, I think Melton plays in every game this week. They have 4 with no back-to-backs, but he'll probably sit next week when they have only 3 games with the back-to-back set. And Nemhard is a little bit more sus, but like King said, at least the Pacers play earlier in the day.
Yep. All right. Well, we need to get out of here. We're bang on an hour, so I didn't think we'd go for an hour, but we did. I'll be back tomorrow doing another one of these shows. So if I didn't get to your questions, obviously the earlier you join the show, we work through them from top to bottom. So do tune in tomorrow. I don't know if it'll be just me or if I'll have someone with me. But yeah, we'll get through as many questions as we can. Good luck in your leagues that are going, Kirien. I know the stake league is an important one. You're safe enough, aren't you, that you're going to finish in the top 7?
I would sure hope so. Yeah, I'm currently sitting in fourth. A couple of good weeks, and I could jump into the money. And if Wemby or Jokic misses any time, I could slide down the rankings. But I think that would be the only way that I wouldn't be able to place. And then my keeper league, I'm also on that third place list, battling with Shannon, third and fourth place there. Basically just coming down to field goal percentage, which is a really annoying stat to cheer for on a given basis. And then one of our other industry leagues, I'm going to take second in. That was more of or industry RotoWire leagues. That's a 20-team league, and it's just basically a battle of who picks up the most guys. And I've been super active in that one. So a couple of third place finishes, maybe a second place finish. Was in the championship game for a points league where I just fell short due to a couple of last second injuries, but it sounds like everybody else is doing really well in our leagues, and I've been very happy to join you these last couple of weeks and help everybody win their leagues.
Yeah, no, well done to those that have won their leagues or are still alive. In the as I said, hopefully it's the final for most of you, but if not, if you're still going. The information that we've provided has hopefully it's gone a little bit or a long way or a little way to helping you. All right, I'll be back tomorrow. Thank you, Kirien, and thank you, everyone. A reminder, please download and like and follow and do all of that stuff. He is Kirien Sprecher. I'm Adam King. This has been Stuff It, a fantasy basketball podcast. We are done.
You don't know where I've been, what's going on inside, where the monsters like to come alive, come alive.